Hello, everybody. It is Friday, the 5th of December. Now, I just got a comment, and I've spoken about this before, but I want to do it again. And that is Matthew 7, verse 21, from verse 21. And there is actually the entire problem in those few verses. And there is the deception and there is the delusion where people do not understand what is going on. The New Testament has got two elements. One is the giving of a knowledge. I bring you a knowledge of the Father, and that is the Creator. The light within, the knowledge of the light within. The knowledge of the power of the Spirit and what it can work. What is then described as miracles in the Bible. That was the knowledge that was brought. The power of the Spirit, the power of our spirit, of our energies, and what we can work with them. What we can achieve. Greater things will you do. So that is the first element, the bringing of the knowledge. The second is what that knowledge should serve. And there are two ways in this book. How the knowledge should be used. What we should do with it. Now, let me read the verses, because the people that come running are in the confusion that most people in this world are in. I want to show you this here. So the verse says, Matthew 7, starting at 21. Not everyone that says unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom which is heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have we not cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Right. And many have wondered about those verses. Yeah, and the pastors will tell you, I don't know, they didn't shout his word loud enough. His name loud enough, they didn't use it often enough. They didn't wear it out enough, The fault lies with the people. They've done something wrong. Because if Jesus doesn't know you, obviously we are the ones that are at fault. We're always the ones that are at fault. The problem is the way by which this knowledge shall be used. Because obviously they were on a higher level of consciousness. They were masters of their energies. They had done it. We have driven out devils, which means healing. They did heal. They did many wonderful things. So they had the knowledge. They have worked it out. They could do it. And yet he did not know them. Because not everyone says unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father which is in heaven. Only those that obey God. And here is the parting of the ways. Use that knowledge and service to a God, a ruler. That means the one, the God, the ruler, or the few, if there's a council, they make the decisions. They lay down the law. They give their commandments to you, and you do as you're told. And only those that obey the commandments, the directions of a Lord, a God, will enter into New Jerusalem. That is the way of the cross, the denial of self, the beating down of your own knowledge, to become angelic, a mindless servant, a servant that has no judgment of his own. You should not judge, you should not go by your own knowing, but trust the Lord in all and do as he tells you. That is the way of the cross, and that is the way of Jesus. And that is Christianity. It's obedience. Total and utter obedience. Mindless obedience. Unquestioning obedience. That is the way in which the knowledge that was given should be used. You have the knowledge, you are powerful being, serve a God and do as you're told. And then there's the other way, and that is the truth within us. The way we see good and bad, the way we know good and bad. Going by your own knowing. Applying the knowledge that we have, what we can do, being ruled over by our own conscience, which is the light within. That is our conscience. And yes, your conscience will not always tell you, do, you can. No, it doesn't. It will tell you do or don't. You should or you shouldn't. It will restrict you at times, because that is wisdom. It is not total freedom. But the way of serving a Lord is no freedom, none. The only one that has freedom is God himself, the ruler of New Jerusalem. He has all the power and all the glory and all the freedom. That is total slavery. But here is the confusion. Because the people come running saying, I had the knowledge. I have become a powerful being. I've done wonderful things. And again, when they say wonderful things, wonderful according to who? I would say themselves. According to a human being. And they come running to him, saying, we did all these things in your name. Because they were under the false belief that he stood for love and compassion, and he doesn't. That is not what he stands for. He stands for obedience. Love and compassion, yes, but only if it serves the Lord. If you're ordered to be obedient, loving and compassionate, then you can do it. But there is what they did not understand, what his essence actually was, what he actually stood for. He did not stand for love and compassion. He stood for obedience to the law of some outside God, to be ruled over by the will of another. That is what he stood for. So even in this world, and here is where we have to separate the wheat from the chaff. The ways. We have to separate the ways of what it is we do with our knowledge. Follow the knowledge within, the light within your own conscience, or suppress your conscience and follow the law of a God. And that is now in the end times, God should separate the wheat from the chaff. That is us, the wheat from the tares. And it would appear to me at the moment wheat and tares is very much in the eyes of the beholder. It depends on, again, that is your judgment, that is your choice. That is the choice that the New Testament is giving you. It is first giving you the knowledge that you are a powerful being and lots of things can you do. And then it gives you two ways of what to do with it. And you can only follow one way. There can only be one master. Either God in heaven, some ruler that tells you what to do, or your own conscience. You cannot serve both. Man cannot serve two masters. You must make a choice. Which way do you go? Serving your own conscience is the way to freedom. That is self-determination. Serving God and some God in heaven, some ruler that is outside of you, that is another consciousness that is ruling over you, that is the way into total slavery. I mean slavery on the highest level, not just physical. But I think at the moment, first of all, this has to be made clear. The New Testament is the giving of a knowledge and the giving of two ways. Two ways. You're asked to make a choice, and you should make it consciously, not out of a mistaken belief. Not out of thinking Jesus is all love and compassion. That is not what he's standing for. Because then you end up at this point where you come running and he doesn't know you and you don't understand why the hell he doesn't know you. Because you're not on his wavelength. You have not understood what he stood for. We are coming to a point, I think we are going the way of spirituality. Yeah? And there seems to be a choice at the moment between spirituality and technocracy. I think we will go towards spirituality, or at least a lot of us will go that way. And then we are going to be faced with that choice. What are we going to do with this? What should it serve? Who should be the Lord? And it should be our own conscience, the light within, the knowledge within, our knowledge. And we should not suppress that. Because we will become extremely powerful beings going into slavery. But again, at the moment, as I said, people go that way. Some already find capabilities, different capabilities, healing, channeling, remote viewing. I mean, many different things you can do with that. They're finding the capabilities, and many are actually coming together in churches, that go toward healing, spiritual churches. And that is good. I think that is good. It should be like that. But whoever goes to such a church or creates such a church, they should not call themselves Christian. They should not call themselves Christian because they are not. If they are following the law of their own conscience, they are not Christian. If they are following the knowledge of good and bad according to a human being, they are not Christian, and they shouldn't call themselves that. And they should not talk about the crucified Jesus. See, there is where they are in the confusions, and they will be the ones that come running because they have not understood. Make the clear distinction between the two masters. New Testament is the book of two masters, two ways. And if you are following your own conscience, your own love and compassion, then do not call yourself a Christian. Because you are not. That was not his way. That is not the way he chose. He chose obedience to a power that is not of this world. That was his choice. You can follow that choice. But I said a choice was given and the decision has to be made consciously. Understanding what it is you are doing. And only then is it a free choice. If you are making a choice out of complete confusion, that is not free choice. So this is what is happening in Matthew. That's why he does not know them. Not because they did something wrong. They had the knowledge that was given, which was the first thing, the giving of the knowledge. They had that, and they did it. They were following their own love and compassion. They were following their own conscience. And this is where the ways part. And that is why he didn't know them. He stands for blind obedience as the highest principle. And that is blind obedience to a God that is not of this world. Think about that. I think this is what needs to be in the world first. The clear understanding of who Jesus actually was and what he stood for. What the way of the cross stands for. So that people are actually free to make a choice. And I wonder how many would go into slavery willingly. You know, do things that are sinful, crimson as blood, and then proclaim it's fantastic because God said so. And that makes it right. That is the way of the cross. Yeah, our eyes need to be open to the truth, and the truth of who Jesus actually was and what he stood for. And then make a choice for ourselves. Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today. And I talk to you again soon. Bye.